Hey there. Today I'm building Medusa's Lair, a really cool planet coaster build that I kind of came up with the last second. I have this new area in my park in Funland here called the Pirate Cove, and I'm kind of building a whole, tropical themed, pirate themed area. And I wanted this build to kind of merge between my other areas in my park, which are just general kind of areas and kind of unthemed, but they have a little bit of a rusticness to them. And I wanted to make this more island feeling thing. Now I did make a gift shop before, and it's in the same kind of plot of land here. And you'll see a little bit of it, but the whole video will be at the end of this video. So check that out. I'll have a link right over to it, so you'll be able to check that out. But in that, I also added a little bit of Polynesian or tribal feel, like island tribal feel to that build. So that was pretty cool. This build is going to be a little bit different. I have picked up some build tricks, some tips from someone who I'm going to butcher your name, but I'm going to attempt to say Juru, J-U-R-R-E, I think, Juri. So this person, I encountered them on the Movement Little Socks Discord. They make these incredible Western themed buildings, and they actually have a YouTube channel. And after talking with them on Discord a little bit, they directed me to their videos, and it's amazing. It's a whole, I knew that you could use like planks to build a wall like this in Planet Coaster, and I was already aware of that, but you rarely think of it. I did it in Pixie Park, I believe, my first park. And then after that, I just quit doing it, but it's so versatile. It's amazing. It really is. And you need to start doing it yourself. And you can do it out of all kinds of objects, concrete, all kinds of things. The walls in the game, you don't have to be confined by those. You can do this so much better, and you'll see as this build takes shape, you'll kind of see what happens to it. It does go through several iterations, I'll tell you that now. And my positioning there just sucked. I will regret this later, how I put that down, but you'll see later on that I have to move literally everything. And these aren't like combined sets of blocks. These are individual planks all through here. And I even stupidly don't question that last move there, them little planks. But in the background, you'll see the chair swing ride just going like a top. That's really funny. And you can also see the train ride every now and then. I almost said to our left, but that's going to change here in a second, of course. I did a whole video there about that train ride, which is why I mentioned it. And this part here, I really struggled with this. The whole concept here of like moving all this just got ridiculous. So I just went down through it, and you're watching this at 4x, so lucky you. You did not have to see me individually click boards, because I was as bored as you could get doing that. I really was. And sometimes the click just misfires and I don't understand it, and I really don't get what I did there. Oh, I get what I'm doing. Okay, so I was like, what am I doing? I decided to put this roof that really doesn't apply to this up there, but then I started worrying about trim. Trim is one of them things that I picked up from Moving Little Socks. He does a really good job with it. He always has trim in his builds, and it's something that I'm just kind of getting my feet wet doing. If you've been with the channel for a while, you know my build style for structures is questionable at best, and sometimes they look horrible. But I'm getting better, because I'm starting to learn that the more effort you put into a build, the more you're going to get out of it in the end. And you see, like, there's a tiny gap there, and you might not even see it, but I notice it, and I still copy everything up, and I still copy everything down. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to move those over and fill that gap in. Those are the little things I'm referring to. Now, there's a great lesson right here. Don't box things in so much. You'll see me struggle with windows. It's like a joke on this channel at this point. Windows and I in the game, I struggle every time I have to go for a window. And I forget continuously that you can scale things until I do it, which is nuts, because I tested a lot of those windows, and some of them might have been a great fit. But here's the lesson you can learn in this little part here, is that you shouldn't box things in so much. They look worse all boxed in. You can see me just struggling, like, do I put something strange here? And then I stop. Now I paused because I had looked up a Western themed build, but I typed pirate Western themed, I don't know, this whole convoluted thing, and I kind of got this really interesting image, and it related to, I'm not going to show it because for all I knew it's copyrighted, but it was just like this general like saloon kind of look, but it was more pirate themed. It was more haunted saloon than it was anything else. But that's when I realized, you know, if I keep following my golden rule with this, build everything as much as possible, you know, from scratch, that it looks better. And yeah, I think you'll agree. You see these pillars going in, and you just look at them and you're like, yep, that was the right choice. The windows, I should have built those by hand, to be honest. Like, that, it would have looked more intense. And I decided early on there, put that other piece off to the side so you can more easily grab it, because sometimes when these builds are all set up with themselves, they're harder. And also, less is more. Put less windows in and you'll get more of an effect. You know, at one time there was a thing called the window tax, and it was, I'm not sure where all was in place, but I'm sure it was around the time when there were pirates. And the window tax was more or less, the more windows you had, the higher your tax rate on your property was. So you'll see older buildings where they just blatantly 100% covered it up, like with brick. It had to be bricked in. And it was crazy because there's so many buildings where you're like, that looks like there was a window there. Why would they remove it? That's why they removed it. So these builds wouldn't have had a ton of windows in them. Number one, importing glass to any kind of island, tribal, tropical area is always difficult. Assume that when you're building stuff like this, and it makes it more believable. And then of course, yeah, it would just been harder in every way. So there'd be less windows. But here we're reaping the rewards of that mistake from the first part, which was setting the wall wrong. And I doubt you noticed it because it was kind of fast, but there was another wall that kind of got shimmied a little bit as I was working. But then I also decided this wall is so broad and so crazy, it needs a little bit of color variation. And I know that those beams are kind of sunken at different levels with themselves, but that's fine, right? I mean, that's absolutely fine. Moving along here, I started to work on the completionism here. My completionism, my ability to complete builds all the way around and commit is really terrible. But you'll notice in this build as we move forward here, and it comes up in a short while here, you'll notice that I do work very hard to complete this build because it was actually on my mind. You guys, the viewers, you're always on my mind. You know, you really are. I mean, I'm just so tickled all the time to think of all the people that want to watch these videos, and you guys are constantly on my mind with this stuff. And I think you wouldn't want to really sit through me failing to complete a build yet again. So thinking of you, I decided to work on it. I made sure it got all the way done this time. I did have a little bit of gap in videos. I was more or less, I was going to try to post almost every day because Planet Coaster 2 has me so enamored. I'm so absorbed in this game that I think 2 videos, 3 videos a week, not out of the question. 4 or 5 wasn't even out of the question. But the problem is, and it's probably a big problem, is that I work 12-hour shifts in a factory. You know, I'm just a guy in his 30s trying to make money in the world, and I don't often have a ton of time for video games. On those work shifts, especially because right now I'm night shift, I switch night shift, day shift all the time. Those night shift days, even like right now, I just came off of a 12-hour shift. You know, and shout out to any of my coworkers who are watching instead of being in bed. But yeah, I decided to work on this video because it's been a couple days since I had a video out. And, you know, I'm sure you can relate. It's the struggle. You want to go to work, earn money, get by. I mean, groceries are expensive. Fortunately, I don't have any children. I can't imagine how you guys with kids, how you manage it. But yeah, it's just crazy. Now, I do apologize if you hear my cat every now and then. She is a little bit of a vocal character, but it's impossible for me to edit it all the way out. I can't make her be quiet. I don't know if you've ever owned a cat, but yeah, if you ever owned a cat, I'm sure you're nodding your head right now. You cannot make them quiet if you want to try. Sure, I can scold her, but what is that going to do? No, she's a cat. She meows. That's what they do. This beach ball is actually an inside joke with somebody else. It's a little nod to them. So shout out to that person. If you know, you know. And then I start tasting objects all around. If you're new here, tasting is my word for just trying things out, sampling. I kind of taste my way around the menu and figure things out. I also decided that nets were it was too much. One net, cool. Multiple nets just didn't look right. And I was even thinking about putting like fish or something like trapped in the nets. Completely forgot about it. I'll spoil it for later. I totally forgot about it. That net just lays up there like something dying in the sun, and nothing gets stuffed into it. If the Planet Coaster devs ever would happen to somehow randomly see this, please, 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 please put some wood damage variants into the game like there is with brick and all that. Colorable damage variants. It would just be so wonderful, and it would help those of us who like to build in wood sometimes to do that. Cool little note here, and I wanted to work it in there real fast. Other than the obnoxious pop-ups that constantly keep happening, that, oh, please, 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 if someone could tell me how to stop those from happening, that'd be wonderful. But yeah, so anyway, the air conditioning unit on the roof, it looks slightly out of place, but it's supposed to. It's one of those things where I wanted to give the building kind of a modern, like something they couldn't avoid or hide, but at the same time not be insanely improbable. Like, obviously I'm not going to put, you know, like the little drivable car or something on the roof, because it just doesn't make any sense. I did play with a lot of objects here for the yard. I really did. I started to encounter the pool stuff. I took a little diversionary path there, but then I continued to sample objects and pull stuff here into the world to kind of clutter the area. Now, clutter is one of those terms that you hear a lot of in the Planet Coaster world, and clutter is just the general term we use for adding objects to a scene to facilitate the kind of vibe. You know, everyone that's been to an amusement park, you know what it is. Amusement parks love to put a bunch of random stuff to fill it in. Disney does it a lot. And there I got yeeted off into another part of the world. If you have that problem, drop it in the comments and let me know you do, so I'm not alone. That just sudden yeeting you get sometimes when you click objects, it's annoying. The fence kind of inspired me last second. I realized there'd be a little bit of an ADA compliance, a little bit of a safety factor to an amusement park build. And in order to keep that build from looking like it's an actual like lair saloon rustic place, and instead is an amusement park attempting to build a place like that, I wanted to complete that by adding the railing, and I even thought about adding a security camera, like the air conditioner on the roof. It's that realism element that you're looking for when it comes to making it more believable. The sign as well, that was a really important thing, and I still to this day have no clue if I spelled that correctly. Medusa's Lair. So if I didn't, please comment below, and let me know that I didn't, and correct my spelling, because my spelling is terrible most of the time, just awful. I kind of broke with channel tradition and I'm not allowing you guys to name this place. I needed to have a central theme or idea to this place, and actually placing the Medusa at the very tip of the building before, that was when I got the idea to make it Medusa's lair. So no grand crazy gesture. This isn't some philanthropy or some crazy thing. This is not a noble thing at all or nothing. This has no deeper meaning. It's just literally the piece I attached to the top of the building. I think that pretty much sums up how I do most things. Here I'm just adding some nice ambiance, some lighting, and I got lost in the shifty shift there. And I got a weird bug where things kind of freeze out, and then I started to have placement trouble for like everything that I did. Could have spent at least another hour in the back there for real. It was a lot of fun. And here's that sweet completionism that I promised you guys. Yes, Jason kept his promise. Or did I? Did I do the back? I'm scared that I didn't do the back. I'm really scared I didn't do the back. And I think I forgot, and now I look like an idiot because I said all that. Moving on, we're going to talk about the fence now. This fence really would serve only one purpose, and that is to keep a guest out of the area. Which adds to that realism thing. And you'll see here, I just add one or two more items, and it really starts to take shape. Like the terrain paint, I work that around a bit, and terrain paint, you know, it's like anything else. The more of it you just kind of scratch around in and get kind of deep into there, the better. So here it is, Medusa's Lair, a Planet Coaster 2 build. If you want to check out a gift shop build, there's going to be a video that pops up on your screen at any second. I'm not sure when.